I'm Jean Marie Herron, Certified Professional Organizer. Welcome to POSSE, productivity and organizing solutions serving everyone in your home office, or virtual. If you want to see my organizing and productivity classes and videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Welcome. So we will get started. Hi, everybody. I think I pretty much know everybody on the call, but if I don't, my name is Jean Marie Herron. I am a certified professional organizer, and I own and manage a company called POSSE. And every month I do something called POSSE's 10. So it's really a gratis platform on Zoom to help you get more organized, better organized. And I usually flip between a residential topic and a workplace productivity topic. And my theme this month is Bless with Less. So it's going to be a very personal story today. My assistant Deborah is on the call, and we are recording the pen. So I'm going to ask everybody to stay muted for the presentation. I do have a lot of slides, but if you have a question that jumps into your head, go ahead and put it in the chat box, and then Deb will save all the questions for when I back out into the Q&A section. So we're going to go from 12:30 to 1 o'clock, and I'm not going to have a pen next month. I'm going to take it off for the holidays. So in advance, I wish you all a happy holiday. So we're going to get started here. So like I said, my theme is Bless with Less, and I really wanted to have this particular topic around Thanksgiving because I'm just kind of coming out of my own personal downsize and minimize, which I did almost the whole year of COVID for 2020. We put our house on the market in February of 2020, and we moved in July of 2020, and it was quite the transaction. I don't even know what word to give it, but the reason why I wanted to downsize and minimize is not just because I'm a professional organizer, but because I felt very personally that it would make things easier on myself and my family. And I believe very strongly that by doing it, I have a lot more freedom. So this is a picture of me hiking. Every time I have a few hours to myself, that's where you'll find me. You will find me on the top of a mountain somewhere in the tri-state area. And having a smaller home with less to do and take care of gives me more time in my time management and freedom. When I wrote my POSSE e-zine in November, I added a few other things that I felt were beneficial to me in terms of the downsize and minimize. Things like less brain fatigue. And what I mean by that is, with a smaller home and less stuff to take care of, I have a little more energy. I also feel that, it adds safety, and you're going to see a picture in a minute, and I'll explain the safety reason. It's much easier to clean now that I've downsized and minimized. And I feel like when I walk around my house, I have a clearer vision. There's less confusion because there's less stuff. So it's just, things are easier to find, use, put away, take care of. There's more money in a smaller space because, there's everything from the utilities being less to not having to worry about buying duplicates because I know where everything is. And then lastly, gratitude. For me personally, I feel like the things I have kept mean more to me. And so if I have, 1, 2, or 3 things that I treasure in a room, I'm very grateful for those things as opposed to having lots of mediocre items. So that's my humble opinion of why I wanted to do this. And I like to say that when we get organized, we lose our frets. So FRETS is my acronym, and those of you who know me know I love acronyms. Even my company name is an acronym. But when we get organized, everything we do relative to our organizational and productivity skills, they touch our finances, they touch our relationships, they touch our emotions, as well as our environment. They touch our time, and they for sure touch our space and our safety. All right, so here's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. This is not my home, this is a client home, and this particular client, and I know, this is a pretty cluttered picture, but like many of my clients, he tripped on something in his house, fell, injured himself, and now won't be able to stay in his home, and he's gonna have to sell it and moved to more of a one-story kind of a home. So I work every day with lots of people who downsize much later in their years, and I wanted to downsize early because there is so much work and effort involved that, and I see this every day with my clients, that I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to do this early. So here, the picture on my right is the house I came from. This was the house on the right is what it looked like in February of 2020, kind of ugly, actually, when I think about it. That was the real estate picture. This was the home we were in for 22 plus years. And the home on the left is in Ridgewood. This is the one we've been in a little over a year. And this is actually a two-family side by side, and we are on the right side. So we kind of live in half of a house now. But in the Mawa house, even though it looks relatively small, we actually had a tremendous amount of space. So I just wanted to tell you the kind of space we had. I couldn't show you a million pictures. I only have a half an hour. But what we had in Mawa was the front porch, a foyer, a living room, dining room, an eat-in kitchen, a full bath, a sitting area with sliding glass doors out to a large deck, and a big backyard, a long driveway, and a single garage. And that was just the first floor. On the second floor, we had 4 bedrooms. One of them was a home office, 2 bathrooms, 2 linen closets, and we had a great attic, which was easy to go up and down and get things in and out. On the lower level of the basement, it was 3/4 finished, which was my husband's man cave. We had a lot of storage. We put a lot of extra closets down there. And we had a huge crawl space for my husband's tools. And we also had a laundry room. Moving to the picture on the left, which is basically, like I said, half of a 2-family house. I like to call it adorable but small on purpose. We also have a porch, a living room, dining room combination, a kitchen, but not eat-in, and what I fondly refer to as a water closet. So there is literally a toilet and a sink in a closet off of the dining room, but I'm happy to have a bathroom on the first floor. The second floor is 3 really small bedrooms, 1 full bath, and 1 linen closet. The attic stinks, so I hardly ever go up there. And the basement we gutted and renovated, and that is really one big area, which is a man cave, a home office for my husband. I like to refer, again, fondly to the guest room, which is really 1 day bed, 2 closets that we built, a full bathroom, and a utility laundry room. And the driveway is shared. The other side of the house, we have a tenant. So the driveway is split, and the 2-car detached driveway is split too. So we have got kind of half of everything. And I wanted to mention that because what's really important in a downsize or a minimize, if you want to stay and age in place, is to think about the space that you're gaining or losing. So in my case, I was downsizing. So I was actually losing a lot by choice, but I was losing 1.5 bathrooms. I was losing a bedroom. I was losing an eat-in area of the kitchen. If I counted, I lost a lot of kitchen cabinets. I lost a lot of storage, especially from an easeability sake. And every room in the new house is much smaller than all the rooms we had in Mawa. So here's a little tour. This is the front porch. This was basically my deck furniture. I mentioned I had a really large deck in Mawa, so I couldn't reconfigure it the same way because it wouldn't fit. So it's comfortable enough. And this is actually, believe it or not, one of my favorite rooms in our house. And we put in a mini split system so we can have heat and air, and it's pretty comfortable there, probably about 9 months out of the year. So in our downsize, we also thought about what are we doing to the next house to make it comfortable, even though we're going much smaller. So this gives me an outside space because I don't have that deck and backyard that I had in Mawa. It's very, very different. The angle that I shot this photo from actually makes the rooms appear much larger than they are, but they're small. So this is the living room. And the reason I could get in what looks like a big, L-shaped couch, and it is a big couch, is because this house is 100 years old and we updated all the mechanicals. And I'm probably going to get the name of it wrong, so my husband probably won't listen to this, but I think it's called a combi unit. And between the combi unit and radiant flooring, we were able to let go of, we had all these radiators. And by letting go of all the radiators, I had much more furniture placement. So this is shooting the photo from the living room out into that front porch. So what you didn't see in the last picture was my nanny's sewing machine, which is, you know, a huge piece of memorabilia for me. So that's the living room. Going into the dining room next. Dining room, really small room, not the most comfortable piece of furniture from Raymore and Flanagan, I believe, but works really well because it has tons of storage in it. And believe it or not, all of my china and crystal fit into this piece. And then the piece behind it and the piece in front of it, again, more storage, a tiny little buffet and shelving. So I was really careful about my furniture pieces because I knew I would need the storage. So when you downsize or even thinking about going minimal, you want to go vertical and multifunctional. I have a much smaller kitchen, but it's taller and it's new. I'm so excited. I was talking to Deborah before the call, and it's the first time in my life I've had a new kitchen. So we did gut this space before we moved in. And as we age, I talked about this on last month's POSSE's Pen. You know, I'm a small woman, so, you know, I'm only 5 feet tall. And when I lift my arms, I don't really want anything above 6 feet. So a lot of these upper shelves, I really barely use. So all my prime real estate is down below. But it's very functional. You know, the sink, the dishwasher, the stove, and the refrigerator, I could do a 360 in the middle of the kitchen. I don't have a kitchen table, but in terms of cooking prep, it's very, very functional. And if you were to ask me what goes in any cabinet or any drawer, I would be able to tell you. All right, in a downsize, you want to use your walls. So I don't have anything on the staircase because I don't like to see pictures for me going up the walls, but I did utilize where the private bedrooms are. I utilized a lot of that wall space for, you know, like galleries, like, you know, my kids' birth announcements and communion pictures and things like that. So definitely going to use your walls in a downsize. We have some double duty rooms. So now we're on the second floor. I already showed you the first floor. This is a combination of the POSSE office as well as my daughter's bedroom. So I had a set of bunk beds in Mawa and we split them. So there's one in my daughter's bedroom and one in my son's bedroom, which you're going to see. So, you know, in a downsize, you just make do with whatever you have. But luckily, with today's technology, I don't really need a lot of space to run my business anymore. So that's that room. And then this is the middle room. I told you the bedrooms are really small in this house. This room doesn't even have a closet. It is literally, and this picture makes it look large. It's not large at all. So this room has enough space for a twin bed, which is the other half of the bunk, a nightstand, a hamper, and a dresser. And it is the guest room. It is the, you know, college student when he's home. And I'm thinking eventually when, you know, nobody comes home anymore after college, this is going to be a closet because that's about how large it is. And then this is the master bedroom. Don't all laugh. Small room. That's a queen size bed. And now that I look at the pictures, I'm thinking, you know what? I think it's time to change out that, this was before I flipped my winter bedding, but I'm thinking that bedspread is probably time to go. So 2 closets, as you'll see, his and hers, one's mine, one's John's. And I did splurge on California closet because I knew I was going to have to maximize the space. The dresser in the middle of the 2 closets is my husband and mine is on the left. And it's not all of our clothes, but it's most of our clothes. I did have a closet built in the basement, which you'll see in a minute. And I'm going to come very clean with you. So we did all this renovating, and because of COVID, we had so much trouble with inspections and contractors that there were projects that did not get done before we moved in. And one of them is most of our closets don't have doors. So, and that's my husband's job. So I'm not touching that. I'm showing you the picture anyways. And if you look at the picture on the right, going toward the hall closet, you'll see curtains. That's because that's the one and only linen closet. And it also has no doors. So none of our closets have doors yet, and I'm not building them. So that is the quote unquote master bedroom. All right. So bathrooms in this house, there is one in the basement, but I won't show it to you because it's the boys' bathroom and I stay completely out of it. But what I wanted to mention is this is the water closet on the right. That is the tiny little bathroom off the dining room. And then this is the full bathroom upstairs. We did gut this bathroom and I did want a nice vanity because I knew that whatever vanity went in there was going to be most of the storage for the bathroom. And then I have the linen closet out in the hallway. So bathrooms are definitely one of those spaces that people lose a lot when they do downsize. But who needs all those lotions and potions anyways? You know, they do expire. So if you have nothing to do over the holidays, start opening up your medicine cabinets and all your first aid and all that stuff. Taking you down to the lowest level, this is this square footage of the basement is the same as the upstairs part of the house. This is my husband's man cave. This is all of our memorabilia in the left picture, and that's the way he wanted it. So he wanted all those pictures up. He wanted all the photo albums there. So he sits in his recliner and he gets to watch his ball games and look at pictures. If you flip to the other side, it's a home office area. I told you the guest room, right? The one day bed. And then my son's kind of music area. But if you look down that hallway, you'll see two more closets with no doors. And on the left is the men's bathroom, which I won't show you. And then if you go all the way back, that's the mechanicals as well as a laundry room. So that takes you through the lower half of the house. This was a full gut. So the full gut in the house was the kitchen, the upstairs bathroom, and the basement. And the hardest part was, again, probably, you know, the HVAC and the plumbing and the electric, because it was a really old home and we had to update everything. And because we were putting in a full bathroom downstairs, you know, we wanted to have a check valve. So there was a lot that went into doing in this house before we actually moved into this house. This is the outside in the back. This is a shared driveway. We have the right side with the garage on the right, and we share the space for the backyard. Again, it looks pretty large. It's really not that large. So that is the yard and the garage. The hardest part of my downsize, and probably most people's downsize, since I tend to do a lot of downsizing for work, is dealing with the memorabilia. So deciding, you know, as I was getting ready for this move, you know, what are we doing with the t-shirts, the fur coats, the wedding dress, the furniture that came from, you know, grandpa or nanny? What are we doing with, you know, the jewelry? What are we doing with the pictures? And it was really thinking about, do we want to take it with us, and do we want to take it with us in what capacity, you know? So, you know, for example, the picture down on the bottom right was the quilt that my daughter, she ran up to the attic and she took out all the t-shirts I'd saved and she went on Etsy and she had a quilt made. So really, really thinking about, if it's not going to fit in the next space, what am I doing with it? If it's pulling on my heartstrings, am I going to find somebody who's going to love it and use it more than me now? Or can I possibly repurpose it and turn it into something else? I'm going to tell you another little story about my husband, John, over here on the left. I don't know, we have dozens and dozens of Hess trucks because my wonderful sister-in-law every year since I've been married has bought my husband, my son, and my daughter a Hess truck every Christmas. So our attic was full of them. And I said to him, the Hess trucks are your responsibility. And I found him a place to sell them over the holidays before we moved. He did not. And we have 3 boxes of Hess trucks up in the attic, and I'm not going to worry about it. They're not my Hess trucks. Okay, so I'm done. Anyways, so memorabilia takes a long time to go through, and it is, I don't have to tell you, it's the hardest emotionally. So if you are going to be starting this process yourself, I've had other calls where I've taught my methodology, my SPACE methodology, which stands for sort, select, purge, organize, and equalize. I'm not going to go into it here, but one of the handouts that Deb will have ready at the end of this presentation is my SSPOE methodology, and it will teach you what to do every step of the way if you want to organize a space. So whether that is, the closet on the right, or, the entire kitchen, just a garage, no matter what I'm organizing for myself or my clients, that's my methodology. But in a downsize, the P for purge, that's big. So in your downsize, or if you're minimize, it's all about the pruning. It's about pruning, editing, purging. I'm trying to think of really nice language words here to say, if I don't love it, use it, or need it anymore, it's going. Because eventually, if you know where you're going and you know where you're coming from, like I did, it's a big math game, and you know the square footage, and you know the cabinets and the drawers, and the pole length, so you can figure out what's going to fit. And everybody's level of clutter and stuff is very different. So, what I might like to see in my closet might be very different than you. So that's the methodology. I'll have a form for you at the end. The biggest thing is, where do you start and how you do this? So I always go back to lists. So I developed a product a couple months ago called a MAP, which is a Master Action Property Plan. I did it for myself. I do this for my clients. It's taking basically a spreadsheet or a legal pad or an iPad or whatever works for you, standing at your curb and going through every space in your house and saying, what do I want to do here in order to stay or to go? And it has 3 columns: the task, the person responsible for the task, whether that's you, a loved one, or a contractor, and then really important, the date. When do you want to have this done by? So if you are going to have a project as large as, a downsize, a renovate, an age in place, and the house isn't really conducive to aging in place yet, you want to make yourself a list. So that's available on my website. But I'm telling you, and it's wonderful, don't get me wrong, I put a lot of time into it, but you can do this yourself if you want to. So if you're a DIYer, it's just making a list and checking it twice by Christmas, right? Okay. So I highly, highly recommend that you start as soon as possible. I had somebody, I taught a class last week, and they were thinking 5-6 years out. They had a big home. They've been in the home for over 50 years. And they're like, well, we're thinking 5 or 6 years out. I'm like, got to start now, based on what they told me they had, because it is so time consuming to go through things. You could even have one drawer in a kitchen or in a living room coffee table, and it might have 25, 30 things in them, and everything needs to be decisioned. And sometimes the decisions are attached to emotions. So if you're thinking about doing this, start now. This is another client of mine, and just doing the stuff on the left took hours. There was music that we had to go through and decide on. There were books that we had to go through and decide on. There was tons and tons of media, music in the back, all those cabinets in the back, that old, I forget what you call it. My dad had one of these, like the old fashioned stereos where the components are inside and you've got the speakers built in. This client has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of CDs and DVDs. And just the stuff took hours. Now, the next question is, where is this person going? What size space? I know based on what they are looking for that, except for some of the technology in the back, the piano is going to be getting donated. The furniture is going to be getting donated. They are not hardly taking any of what's here. That mirror where you see myself looking into, taking the picture, they're taking that mirror, the stereo equipment, the little stereo equipment, the art on the walls, and the family pictures. So these, again, it all takes tons and tons of time. So start right away. Okay, I'm about to open it up to Q&A in a second, but now's the time where I normally tell you what I'm doing for my next POSSE's pen. So I am taking December off for the holidays, and I have not quite decided what I'm doing in January. So you'll all get a follow-up email, and most of you are on my e-zine list. If you're not, sign up for my easing list. And then either through the easing, the POSSE pen follow-up, or my website under my speaking page, you'll always know where I am for my POSSE pen. So again, this was me hiking, and I'm going back to the freedom that this will give you if you do it all now and get it out of your way. All right, so let's clutter more you. If you like any of my presentations or any of my work, please feel free to connect with me in any of these ways. And I am ready for Q&A. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Deb is going to put in the chat box the information about my SSPOE methodology, if any of you don't already know that. A link to the map, if you're interested in looking at it. Was there a third thing, Deb? Is it just those two? That's it, because I don't have a link yet for next month's POSSE's pen.
The resource list, the SSPOE, and the map link.
Well, not the resource list. The resource list, just so you all know, I'm updating it. Many of you have it. You know, I work very, very hard on it. It's 4 pages, 4 solid pages of resource information. And I do it quarterly with my colleague, Cindy Meyer of Ridgewood Moving. So I'm revamping it right now, because in and out of COVID, a lot of the charities, a lot of the selling resources, all that stuff changes almost monthly. So next month, as a holiday gift, instead of an easing and a POSSE's pen, I'll be sending everybody the updated resource list. So that's next month. It looks like I got 5 minutes left for Q&A.
We do have a few questions, Jean Marie. Your resource for the Hess trucks, do you remember what that was?
That was going to be eBay. So I was going to do Hess trucks on eBay. My husband was supposed to. Facebook Marketplace is also great for things like that. So those would be 2 good resources for Hess trucks.
Okay. And is it Liza says you got me to finally do junk luggers, and I'm hooked on it now. Can't wait to clear out more. Yeah, so it just takes a little bit to get started.
Okay, was that last month that I had a
yes.
guest speaker from Junk Luggers? Okay, so for any of you who missed last month, first of all, you can always find it on my YouTube channel. So on my website, there's a little icon on the top right for all of the past POSSE's pen presentation. I work with a company called Junk Luggers all the time, over and above the other junk removal companies. And here's why. Number 1, they're very reasonable, but more importantly, number 2, they give the best service. And number 3, they are so environmentally friendly. These guys go above and beyond, making sure nothing ends up in the landfill, and they're phenomenal at donating. So they take everything back to their warehouse, and they have all kinds of charities that will come to their warehouse and pick things like Habitat for Humanity, et cetera, et cetera. But these guys are so good, and they know all the spots to go. So whether it's Newark or Patterson, they will drive in knowing, where they're going, whether it's, near food banks, et cetera, and they will just drop stuff off. So if they just picked up from a client's house, what I call gently used brown furniture, and we all have it, we don't want it anymore, but it shouldn't end up in the landfill, not going to make any money on it. You pay the junk luggers to haul it away. Yes, maybe you paid the dissemination fees, but that is not going into a landfill. That's going to go to somebody. And it is very, very efficient if you have a lot of things that need to be decluttered, whether, again, aging in place, downsizing, and you want to get it out of your house and you want to get it out in one fell swoop, one call to them. So a lot of times I work with them. I just make sure that my clients have all the decisions made up front, or I work with them while they're there, making sure that we know what's supposed to go on the truck goes on the truck, what's supposed to stay is going to stay. And the other great thing is I use them all the time when I'm quote unquote pseudo staging. So I'm not a certified stager, but a lot of times I need furniture moved around, and I will use their brawn to do that as I'm also decluttering the really heavy stuff. So thank you, Liza, for that. Okay. Next question.
I don't see any more in comments. People,
okay.
You can always unmute yourself if you have a question as well.
Yep. So we're getting close to the end. So either I overwhelmed you or I bored you. I'm always concerned that it's one or the other.
No, the information was wonderful. Thank you.
Yay, Denise, good. Okay,
Really, really good.
great. All
Hey.
right,
Jean Marie, I have a quick question.
sure.
It's Karen.
Oh, hi, Karen, how to find
Hi.
you?
Is your front room heated?
So that has a mini split system. So
Okay.
it's a Fujitsu, I forget what you call it. It's the most incredible little box. Yes, I had to pay somebody to put it in, but it has a remote control thermostat, and I can set it to heat or I can set it to cool. And so I can be out there most of the year.
Okay, good. I was going to say that if you had also if you needed like a master downstairs, could you use that front room as like a bedroom downstairs if you were sick or something like that, couldn't go upstairs or couldn't go downstairs?
Could you use the front porch as an
Yeah.
extra room?
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those, do you ever go down the shore, like the old houses with
Yeah.
those louver windows? So if you had a young person with a really nice body that didn't mind anybody seeing them in their pajamas and they wanted to be able to watch the stars. So, for somebody who wouldn't mind sleeping on a porch, that'd be okay.
Okay. Yeah, but it's very, very pretty. Very, very good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we're at 101. I'll take one more question if anybody has it. Otherwise, we'll bring it to a close. And then you'll get a follow-up email, and it'll have all the information and the handouts from here and what I'll be doing in January.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, Jean Marie.
Oh, yes. I wore my orange. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right.
Remember, if you want to see more organizing and productivity videos created by POSSE, hit the subscribe button and you'll be alerted when the next one is ready.